What's up, guys? Got a late update for you tonight. Today was mostly education, not too much hands-on, but it is required. I'm about halfway through the new material on that second course, and although today wasn't major hands-on, like I mentioned, I might as well share a little bit with you guys. So a few interesting points that were made were in the lead generation. And as I've been hammering home the past couple days regarding back to the basics, these same principles and concepts are used with the residential wholesaling as well. But some of those are probate attorneys, divorce attorneys, as you know, the absentee owners. It was mentioned in the material. Foreclosures, obviously, even driving the neighborhood, you could see properties that are neglected or abandoned, etc. One of the interesting things was the DEP website. Now, this is one I've never heard of before. Apparently, all cases that are filed with the DEP are accessible online. I'm going to verify this. I've actually never checked into this, and there's a good reason for that, and I'll tell you in a minute. But apparently, any one of these DEP issues will be filed with the website, and it could be a good source of those leads. The biggest drawback that I see with the DEP issues, from my own personal experience, the first oil tank that I ever had removed, we're talking back in 2008 or 2009. It was a leaking underground, they call it a UST, underground storage tank, and it hit groundwater, and it turns out the remediation is about 100 plus, and the property now is not even worth that much. So here you have a contaminated property that hit groundwater. Who knows if it's getting worse or what the story is. But the bottom line is, here we are, 2013, and it is still not resolved. So I can imagine similar situations may occur with those particular leads. Perhaps even worse, or maybe you have some that are easily remediated. With that being said, obviously if you build that cost into the purchase price, and perhaps it's a scenario where the current owner just doesn't want to deal with it, you may find some good deals. So I guess if you have patience and persistence and you don't mind diving into that kind of lead pool, it might be worthwhile. So I might just check into it just to see, just for educational sake. But I always like the low-hanging fruit. Another interesting thing to relay on the probate attorneys was this, and I thought this was interesting. What they mentioned was, he asked in the audio, how often do people die and leave properties to their heirs, and it happens quite often. Well, with a commercial property, such as an apartment building, apparently you can take, let's say you own multiple commercial properties, you could write off your expenses to one property, one building, and the IRS doesn't care as long as they're getting their money. Now, he went into more detail of why you would put on expenses on one property and then obviously decrease them for purposes of refinancing or selling. So I guess there's a strategy involved there. But having that said, let's say that all the expenses of multiple buildings was written to this one building, and the person passes away, the heirs are looking to sell, and on the books, before they got a chance to clean them up, they see that this property maybe is in bad shape. So you, as the investor, you come in, you end up making an offer which seems to be a lot better than what they're seeing on the books. And whereas if it is accepted, which in a likely scenario it would if they're not too educated on the commercial property, etc., you're actually buying it below market value. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And last but not least, I did get my first email from one of the auction sites. Now, I think it's a property in Mexico or whatever, but it was cool just to see how the flyers come in, what they require as far as placing bids, etc. So hopefully I'll get on some more of those lists, and who knows, maybe we could see some that may be actual prospects. So that's the update. I'm about halfway through the new material. Going to keep pushing along. Tomorrow I start the training with the new assistant, and I think by the end of the week they should be pretty fluent with a lot of the busy work, and hopefully that'll free up my time. That's the goal. It's been the goal, still the goal, one of the goals. All right, on that note, I'm checking out, and we'll touch base tomorrow.